I'm Craig Fisher, and this is Inside Talent. Okay, welcome, everyone. I am here with founder of Talent Llama, Adam Stokar. We are going to talk tech. We're going to talk fairness. We're going to have a good time. Adam, welcome. How's it going today?
Hey, Craig, great to be here. Thanks for having me. It's Monday, and life is good.
Yeah. So, I'm honored to have Talent Llama join the TalentNet Live conference coming up in November as a sponsor. And we're going to be excited to have you there and talk more about all the great features and benefits of Talent Llama and just about sort of the industry as a whole. We're in a weird place with the jobs market. And I think it's going to be a really very timely event this year. So for those who don't know, can you kind of share your journey from Club OS to founding Talent Llama?
I guess we can start back at coming out of school. I went to Carnegie Mellon, and when I came out, I was into fitness and tracking workouts and had this little side hobby to make a workout tracker. And long story short, it turned into a fitness CRM, of course, over about 4 years. We pivoted and just kind of worked my way through starting a business and building software and having customers and keeping customers happy and learning how much that actually entails more than just kind of having the idea to do it. So, went through all that. After about 10 years, we ended up with around 50 employees, about close to 10 million in revenue. And we ended up getting acquired by a PE-backed payments platform called EverCommerce. Went through that experience and eventually kind of mutually parted ways with them. I was trying to get back to building something from the ground up. And had a couple other, let's say false starts, missteps, didn't go so well. Luckily, we kind of, shut them down quick and, looked for the next thing. But over those two other startups, I met my current co-founder, Ben. Ben's like one of the smartest engineers I've ever met. I've worked with a lot of them. He's an incredible person. And we worked together really well on a previous startup. And he had this idea of, hey, I know a lot of people right now that are applying for jobs and their resumes are going into a black hole. He was going through that himself because we had just shut a company down. He was looking for a new job. And I was like, all right, it's going to take you about half a second to get hired. And 60 days later, he still didn't have a job. And I was just like, what is going on out there? Like, this is a problem. And he, being the engineer he is, he whipped up a little command line prototype of an interview agent that would take a job description, take a resume, put together an interview. Very basic, but it was using, OpenAI had just launched ChatGPT and kind of using the newer LLM technology that I was really interested in getting involved with. And I thought it was a great use case. I thought back to all the hiring I did at Club OS and how unfair the, let's say, filtering was, not on purpose, just because we didn't know how to execute a fair screening process. We didn't have the tools we have now. So I'm not going to, beat myself over the head about it, but I could instantly see this was a better way. In a lot of situations, not every single situation, but so we decided to say let's take this really seriously. Let's start a company. And that was November 2023. So we're coming up on our 2-year birthday here. And that should probably get us to up to now.
That's great. Yeah, so we'll celebrate 2 years in Dallas at the TalentNet Live conference. And if anybody wants to join us there, you can find tickets at talenttexas.com. So you're tackling fairness through AI and automation. Talk about that. How does it work? What does it do?
Yeah.
How do candidates benefit?
Yeah, I mean, from a fairness perspective, we're in a situation now, and you talked about how we're in this like new environment of recruiting and applying for jobs and job posts, and what does it all mean, right? So what we're seeing is there's just a lot more fake and AI generated information out there. So one, we can't really trust resumes as a means of demonstrating someone's real knowledge or something like that. Two, it's just hard to get through 1,000 applicants if you're going to have a person read through all those things and then try to make a decision and keep all the different candidates in their head. And like a fully manual process just isn't feasible anymore. And what ends up happening is if you're not using technology, you take the first, let's say you get 1,000 applicants for a job, you take the first 50, you find a few people you like, you move them through. Everybody else like didn't really even have a chance, right? They were just in a line that never and then you say, we're closed, sorry, come back next time. So we don't think that's fair, right? Everyone that if you have a front door to a job at your company, everyone that applies should get reviewed and responded to. It's kind of like a college. If you're accepting you're going to accept applications and understand that you want to review every single one of them. And it's okay to get more. And you just have to have a process of handling that and making sure everyone gets a fair chance, right? So what we see as being fair is that all 1,000 applicants get the exact same opportunity to stand out and be someone who moves to the next step. So if you gave 1,000 people an interview in the same 30 minutes at the exact same time, you'd have 1,000 results to look at. And it'd be really hard to stand out, right? That's going to be a lot of competition and other people you'll be compared against, but you got a chance. And if you're great, you are going to stand out and you're going to get the job. So we believe that's like the most fair way to screen people. And what technology does is it allows us to give everybody the opportunity to get on our radar. And when we talk about like expanding opportunities, that's exactly what we mean. It's like these people did not even have a chance the first go around. They weren't on anyone's radar because they couldn't have been. And then if you're giving them that chance, that's a big difference, right? And that's what we drive the company around in terms of like how we build the product.
All right. So give me a one-line mission statement for Talent Llama.
It's interview every applicant for any skill, fair and fast.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an employer. I need an interview tool to better serve my candidate community and ensure that we are reviewing all relevant candidates. How do you even define fairness, and how can you measure it?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. So again, when we talk about fairness, we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to be at the top of that list, right? Mm-hmm. When the recruiters start looking, current process is usually whoever applies first, right? That's where you start, and you're just going to go down based on the order, first in, first out. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily fair. So some people have, single parents, 2 jobs, they're making ends meet some other ways. Everyone has something going on in their life where do you want to disqualify them because they weren't like, the teacher's pet first person to submit their homework? So there's, but then there's some point where if you wait too long, now I'm asking, is that person even motivated and do they really want this job? So we know time is a factor, but we think the most fair way to evaluate people is by their skills and the skills that you need for the job. So if you can clearly define what you need people to do at your job and then test if they're able to do that, that to me is a meritocratic, fair way to decide who moves through. You don't need to know anything else about the person. You just need to know about the required skills. And if you hone in on that skill-based interviewing with skills that are actually, specific to your company and the job, then the best people will rise to the top. The best matches of those skills, the people who can demonstrate that in real time are going to be the best fits and who you want to enable it to move through.
All right. So tell me how it works. How does Talent Llama test for those skills?
Yeah. So what we do is we start with a job description, and you can just upload that. So if you have a really great job description with specific details, then we can use that. You can use a list of skills and competencies that you've put together. Any text that defines the requirements that you're looking for, you can just throw that in. We'll give you a draft of an outline. It's a really simple user interface. So the outline is just going to be each of our topics step by step in the order you want to ask about. And you just define a skill and then the requirements, which in our world is what does the applicant need to be able to do? So for example, it's not, be great with CRMs. It's going to be manage a, multi-million-dollar sales pipeline from start to finish using like CRM automations and preferably tools like Salesforce and Close CRM, right? So the more you can really define what does it mean at your company, the better the AI is at vetting that skill. And then, it's true kind of expert skill-based hiring at that point.
So I love all of that. This seems different than a traditional resume-based workflow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so there's a couple problems with resumes. I mean, we talked about all the, how easy it is to kind of generate something that looks right. So I can take a job description, throw that into ChatGPT, say, my name's Adam, give me a perfect resume for this job, right? There's nothing to do with what I actually know. So that's one problem. And then even like application questions and all that stuff, we call that static information. It's like a one-shot answer that the candidate can do whatever they want to kind of prepare it. So we really want to focus on dynamic skills assessment. So we want a real-time conversation to evaluate, not just this like, set in stone document that can't be changed and was like, had plenty of time to make look good right by the candidate. So all those resume analysis tools, they're really cool in that they can read 1,000 resumes and extract skills and find all the stuff you want to find. The problem is the data is garbage. So you're doing that on, garbage in, garbage out, the old saying.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard, people like, we get these candidates that rank high and then we talk to them and they were just like not even close, right, to what we wanted. So you want to shift, if you can, you want to talk to every single person because that's how we can truly vet if they know something. But we obviously can't actually talk to everybody when we have thousands of applicants. So this is the best, middle ground in a world where we don't have perfect humans able to interview every single applicant.
All right. So I like that. And we don't, right? Our talent teams are shrinking. So there's
absolutely. The skill, like the skills vetting component too. I mean, I don't think a lot of recruiters like doing that part of the conversation, right? They want to talk about, they want to close you, right? And make sure they want to know, all right, you have all the skills. I don't want to worry about that. I want to worry about like, will you be a good fit for this hiring manager? Are you going to be someone that stays at the company long? Can you show up on time? Can you present yourself to me in person? And that's where we want people to stay focused. And the skills vetting is more just like checking boxes and like, something we can offload.
Right. We want people testing for, right, are you camera ready? Are you meeting ready? Are you executive ready? And we want building relationships to happen there. So it sounds like designing fairness into the process when the skills part is just automated.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, to test how well humans are at fairly evaluating skills at the top of the funnel. Right?
Yeah.
We have all these like standards that we're holding AI to. And it's like, can we point that at your team and get those same metrics and results that you're like expecting from AI? And unless you have a team of, again, like elite, every single person is kind of like, top 1% skill level, which none of us have.
Right.
You're not going to get there, so we got to figure out where can we use our team's, human intelligence that's, not just these monotonous, repetitive tasks. And that's where people should try to be focusing, right? And using and learning tools that can offload that, the tedious work that isn't as high value, and it's harder to do also.
So I've reviewed Talent Llama. I've seen demos. I think it's a cool product. What I think is one of the most impressive things is Talent Llama dynamically infers skills. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So it's a lot of the tools out there and a lot of the interviewing, quote, chatbots. And I hate the word chatbot because that really devalues them. And they started as chatbots, but they've evolved more into, if you know what you're doing and how to build these things, really like human-like conversations, right? And that's where we're going towards. And we're getting better by the day, but it's still not perfect by any means right now. But yeah, when we talk about, so you can ask someone a question and take their first answer and decide, do they know that skill or not? Again, but that's kind of like that static assessment. The other way you can do it is like, again, an expert recruiter would push back on a vague answer, or if they only answer half the question, we'll say, well, can you give some more details about that? And like, if you're saying, oh yeah, I'm great with CRMs, like I know how to use them, I'm always successful, I always hit my goals, it'll say, well, can you talk through how you used it for a specific deal at your last company, and what happens when you get stuck in negotiations, like what are your approaches? And just digging into the details of what those skills actually mean. That's what we call like dynamic skills assessment. And then just making sure you have enough base level information to make the assessment of, do they know that or not, right? So sometimes in our interviews, a candidate will give a really great detailed specific answer, and we're like, cool, we understand, let's move on. Other times, yeah, it's like a half answer, a vague answer. And good candidates will sometimes just blurt out an answer, right? And then we do this in interviews too. Like we're a little nervous, we just start talking. And then if someone's like, well, can you give me a little bit more about that? You have a chance to like talk more about it and think about it a little bit deeply, and you end up giving a better answer. So even though it's like a harder interview, for the candidates who are qualified, it's lower stress, it's less pressure because they have a couple chances to give a good answer.
So that feels not quite as impersonal as a lot of AI upfront tools that I've seen and used.
Well, that's a big part of this. It's like, yeah, you don't want to be too brittle and like rigid. I think people can detect that right away. And, we've had enough experience with these types of chatbots and things where you kind of, you can assess the quality pretty quickly when you see what it starts asking you, right? And like how real is this thing, or how hard coded are these questions? And we try to personalize and enhance every part of the conversation, because it's essentially 15 to 20 minutes where you're trying to extract a lot of information and make it as easy for the candidate to do so in the process.
So that feels like a conversation starter, not a conversation ender. I like that.
Yes. We always have our like disclaimer of, we never make decisions for you, right? And there's always a person that needs to look at these results and sort and filter them in ways that make sense for your company. And you need to apply a recruiting strategy to the data, and not just, again, take the first person that comes in, or take the scores, solely on the numbers, right? So we're always pushing that. Again, this should be a tool to help you decide who to meet with, but you're deciding who to meet with, right? The people are still deciding who to meet with.
Yes, human enhanced. That's good. I like this.
Exactly.
So when I'm evaluating technology or a startup, I'm looking for case studies very often. Do you have some examples of where Talent Llama has helped companies with fairness and speed?
Yeah, we have a couple examples that are published on our website. We're working on a bunch more right now. The first one was like a Series A startup. They had hired one salesperson before Talent Llama, and they had a very aggressive hiring plan for the next year. So within 30 days, we had them up and running with our screening tool, and they went from one salesperson ever to 10 per month for 6 months straight. couldn't have done it without us. 14 times faster. They added, I think, one additional person, and it was just kind of a massive success, huge time savings, huge dollars back to the business. We like to try to shoot for like 25% faster time to hire, just from eliminating application review and scheduling calls with unqualified people, no shows, all that kind of scheduling overhead. We had another company that ran an internship program, and they're out in LA, and it's like this really cool advertising agency. So they get a ton of applicants. They used to be able to get through like the first 60, and they would take people, and they get 500. So this year, like they've been using it for about 3 or 4 seasons now, and it takes 1 week instead of 3 to get through all the applications, and then another 2 days to make a decision. So we've reduced their time to hire by like 70%. And it's really that's the case when it's like a volume game. So the higher the volume, the more impact and like time back you get from these tools, right? So it doesn't apply to every case. We know if there's a outbound, focused role, and like you're not just going to magically screen with AI and that's going to make things better, right? That's like a sourcing problem,
right?
And again, we're not a sourcing company. We're not an ATS. We are just focused on amazing conversational skills screening. And yeah.
All right, so I'm going to play devil's advocate again.
Please do. I love it. Yeah.
I'm a prospect.
Okay.
What kind of assurances do I have about the transparency and explainability of how scores are generated?
Yeah. So as a candidate, every company can decide like how transparent they want to be, right, about what they share. And there's also legal implications of that, right? There's going to be companies that are scared to give certain advice because they don't want to get sued, and vice versa. So let's leave the lawyers to decide what's actually allowed in those cases. But I think up front, you definitely want to tell people what your process is and how long should they expect things to take. And then when you're doing all that, it's great to be able to say, like, we typically, if you take our easy apply path, which comes with an AI interview, it's super low stress, it's voice only, it helps us like really assess your skills. We'll get back to you in 5 days, and you'll know if you have a chance or not. And you can just set that expectation up front and actually commit to it and execute on it. I don't think there's any better way to operate like kind of at the top of the funnel, and candidates will appreciate that quick response. Does that kind of, so that's like in terms of transparency. Yeah, I would, don't try to like act like they're going to get a real interview and then give them an AI interview. I don't think anyone's doing that, but hopefully that's obviously a bad idea. And then we also let you kind of, you can record a video. So when they first open up the interview, you can show like the real person who they would talk to next. I think that goes a long way. And a person kind of explaining like what's about to happen, and giving them an email if they have questions, like they can, always ask questions and get help if they need it. But it's really been amazing to see like the response rates, the candidate ratings at the end. There are a few loud people that are anti-AI that I think scare off the majority, which is like, this is a way more efficient kind of screening process, and I appreciate the company for doing it.
I like it very much. All right, Adam Stokar, this has been very enlightening. We will talk more about it November 7th in Dallas at TalentNet Live. Again, tickets at talenttexas.com. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Talent Llama. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Craig. I'm super excited to be there live, meet everybody. And man, that went super fast. So good conversation.
If people want to contact you or find out more about Talent Llama, how do they do that?
Yes, you can always just email me. It's just adam@talentllama.com. You can go to our website. I'll be at a bunch of conferences, throughout the year, and then
I can attest to that.
yeah, doing the conference, road show right now, and at LinkedIn too. I'm always checking that. So happy to talk to anybody that wants more info.
All right, thank you, Adam.
All right,
bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us and diving deep into the world of talent, innovation, and the secrets behind successful careers. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave us a review or connect with us on social media. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining.